Alright, so here's a thought that's been sitting with me for a while now. Do you ever feel like some shows or film franchises just don't know when to stop? They start out strong, fresh ideas, real characters, something that feels like it actually matters. But over time, that spark fades, the story gets stretched thin, and what once felt alive starts feeling automatic. Suddenly, it's not about telling stories, it's about keeping a brand alive. It's about season renewals, spin-off deals, streaming Netflix. The magic becomes maintenance, and you're still watching, but more of loyalty than excitement. Now, I'm not here to knock nostalgia. I get it. I grew up with The Simpsons, Doctor Who, Coronation Street, even Mr. Bean. These are institutions. They're background noises in some people's lives and comfort food in others. But there's a point where legacy starts to cannibalize opportunity. When we hold on to something just because it's familiar, we start pushing new voices to the fringe. It's like the industry is too busy exhausting the past to notice the future knocking on its door. And that's why Harry Potter feels slightly different. The reboot set for 2027 is already dividing fans. Some are excited, some are exhausted, but I'd argue this is one of the rare cases where starting over actually makes sense. The cast aged out naturally, the films were locked to a very specific area, and the core themes, friendship, identity, resistance, are timeless. They're meant to be reinterpreted. And whether you still love the originals or feel like you've moved on, there's something kind of poetic about giving the series one clean retelling and then letting it go. Of course, not everyone sees it that way. You've got older fans, my generation, even older, who got weirdly territorial, gatekeeper kind of like they own it. They get defensive when new actors are cast, or the tone shifts, or the setting updates, and that feels too modern becomes a threat. And I understand the instinct. You want to protect what shaped you. You don't want to see it twisted or diluted. But at some point, you have to accept we don't own the future of storytelling. It has to move forward, even if that means it moves without it. You guys have to remember there's a younger generation now, one that didn't grow up with midnight book releases or Tumblr theories. They deserve their own version of this world, one that speaks to them, not through us. And if a reboot can offer that, it can take the story and give it new meaning for a new audience, then maybe that's not selling out. Maybe that's storytelling doing what it's meant to do, evolve, adapt, and pass on. If Harry Potter can manage that, even just once more in a focused and intentional way, then maybe it can do something extraordinary. Revive a world and then retire with grace. So here's my take. Let the reboot happen. Let it be the final chapter. Use it as a case study. A reminder that revival doesn't have to mean repetition. And once it's told, close the book. Let new stories take up the space. We've been hoarding because storytelling isn't about remembering what we loved. It's about knowing when to let go, so something new can begin. Look, I know this is a tough one, especially if these stories meant something to you. But I'm curious, is there a franchise you think ended at the right time? Or one that's still going, but maybe should have taken a final bow a few seasons ago? Let's talk in the comments.